All right.
Hello, world.
I'm going to fix you a little bit. Seems a little bit like... There we go. All right.
To me, it looks less crooked. All right, but it might not be. Tonight's featured reader is Amelia Díaz Ettinger. Amelia is an award-winning BIPOC poet and writer. She is the author of 4 full-length poetry collections and 2 chapbooks. Her work appears widely in literary journals and anthologies. Her newest book is Between. She lives in Summerville, Oregon, with her partner, animals, and a thriving garden. So here is Amelia Díaz Ettinger.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you, everybody, to be here tonight. You know, I was thinking, well, Mark was talking, I was thinking about 84. And driving 84, it never gets tiresome for me. Not only because I know at the other end, I get to be with family. But when you drive, there are so many things to see. On my way over here, besides the bald eagles, I saw possibly about 7 rams. And living like ram, there was the mountain full of wild goats. And I thought, why am I so lucky? I don't deserve this beauty, but we have it. I come from a beautiful place, Puerto Rico. Woo-hoo! And, hey, debí tomar más fotos. Yes, I should have taken more photographs. But the good universe brought me here. So thank you. Thank you for being here tonight. And I'm going to be reading from Between. And a friend of mine asked me, why'd you call it Between? And it was not an accident. When I put this poetry together, this collection together, I noticed that there was a theme. The theme was that for my life, the magic happens in those between moments. Between seasons, between animal and human, between nature and the developed, between safety and danger. And those are the moments where poetry is made. So I'm going to start with the first poem that I want to read is a true story. Actually, no. I'm going to start with a different one. I'm going to start between the animal and the human. The dear woman. Soon the valley will be full of snow, and light from the sun that doesn't burn, doesn't bite. A light that enters with this calm will dizzy me. I look through the wet windows that are stained with liquid sequins. No sound penetrates this gray. My heart understands this rhythm. It is the light of November, augury of shadow, winds of snow, of stale kisses that taste of bitter coffee. A silent doe searches tender buds in the dullness. Her tremulous steps whisper the marvel of her round bones under her matted coat. The light calms her and alerts her. Orphan light, the light of deer, of women, of calmness, and eventually of ruin. Okay, so this is the poem that is a true story. Okay, so some of you who are familiar with Eastern Oregon, there is a place that's now being developed for cross-country skiing, but it wasn't at the time that I wrote this poem. And it's Tracks of the Snow at Highway 204. That's Tollgate. And most people don't know this, but Tollgate used to be the main highway between the east and the west side of the state. And it actually went through where I live now, which is a remote, kind of primitive road. And this is, the between here is the between of follow and being followed. Tracks on the snow at Highway 204. I followed a wolf trail in the early snow. I paused where he paused. Turned as he turned on a stalker in skinny skis. A print firm, a single line. A necklace of diamond white. A footprint is a reverse step, but here the reverse is reverential. I could feel his eyes and taste his moves, teasing me further into these woods. I lost his trail once and found that I had gone in circles. Touché, I thought with a smile. Here were the ghostly screams of a snowshoe hare, a quick saunter from solace. By a tree well, I sat and watched the filigree lace left by a tiny mouse. Such a quiet, yet eloquent mark. I grabbed my paws and wished my tracks were known these graceless scars. The funny thing about this true story is that now that trail that I followed, that wolf, a few years ago, they have labeled all the trails, and they are actually making it so all of us who love cross-country ski is accessible, so we don't have to make our own tracks. And guess what that trail is now named? Is Wandering Wolf. And when I saw it, I thought, the universe always talks to us in different ways, doesn't it? The next poem is about the between that is between the protection and the ones that keep us from seeing. And all of the organisms mentioned in this poem are extinct or in the process of being extinct. Out of Paradise. A solano flower posing on top of his blade of grass can feel the warmth, dust of a highway at high traffic. People walking on concrete can't hear the gentle crackling of a spider fur moss spider, or see the Palo Verde's blue caught in the light of a red pine bark. Too many layers separate us. A supermarket parking lot, carts full of plastic bags, an ocean of hunger. Away from the crystal veins of a Haines emerald dragonfly, or the watery bowl of a Pacific Northwest truffle. Fruiting body against loud conversations. Television forfeits the murmur of trees at dusk. Layers of separation high stars at night. The computer screen light blinds. The loneliness of a mussel on a rock at low tide. The Sumatran rhino died, but the klaxon horns intensified. We cannot stop what we can't moor. We can't moor what we can't see. Too many layers. We layer ourselves out of paradise. So we're going to wait for just a minute so we can have some food. And I tend to talk very fast because actually Puerto Rican speech is being compared to a locomotive. So,
en español.
si hablo en español, el puertorriqueño habla así. That's a Puerto Rican speaker. El puertorriqueño habla así. El cubano habla así. The Cuban speaks like this. El boliviano habla así. Therefore, el puertorriqueño no lo entiende nadie. Nobody understands a Puerto Rican when they speak. And this is very true. I took a test when I was in college to get a certification so I could teach Spanish in high school. And I'm taking this test, and there is a part where there's a group of very young people talking, and I knew exactly where they were sitting. I knew that cafe that they were sitting, and I could imagine what they were talking, see the people that they were talking about. And I was laughing while I'm taking the test, and I look up, and I saw everybody looking at me. And these are people with PhDs in Spanish, and they had no clue what they were being said in that test. But it was so funny because it was, the coffee was Los Bigotes del Abuelo, the grandfather's mustache. And I have had many coffee drinks in that place and enjoy it thoroughly. And tacatra is estar acá detrás, okay? Tacatra. So, and that brings me to my next poem, which is Sublimation from Neglect. There is a thing that happens when you are caught between cultures. And to me, that in between is where my magic arises. I'm caught between two cultures. I'm actually caught between three, but I have grown all my adult life in this part of the world. I have been in Oregon for 42 years. So I can say I grew up in Oregon in a lot of different ways. But there are times where there are things that you miss from your first breath. So this poem is about that between cultures. It's called Sublimation from Neglect. I'm forgetting words, native words, first language words, words filled with mother's milk. They left without notice. Sin adios. After all, a is two, and Dios is God. One day they stood and disappeared like this morning's fog. thick and eloquent like soup. So quickly insubstantial, I wonder if I dreamed the fog, the words, simple words like hum and antimony. What made me think of them? Their absence? I want the need for their song. I don't know why I marked this page because it's not something I want to read right now. Yeah, I do. I think this particular poem, for me, is that in between moments when I feel a little bit of despair from the times that we're living in, and for me, this poem gives me, it's my own rebellion, right? It's my own way of finding a place of solace. And it's entitled Beautiful Rebellion. If I'm the weed, the alien, to be plucked out of this garden, forced to be manicured, I say, not today. Today, I am surrounded by the buzz of honeybees, and sunlight bites my thighs as a playful lover could. Let's meet in the center green, where so much beauty grows. Surrender your shears. Share with me this blush. Okay. The in-between also is the times that we're grateful. So, things I thank. Things I thank, the silence of open spaces, filled with the sounds of grace, words that float like feathers from a peacock's tail, a flower moved by breeze, freedom of unshackled stillness, the invitation of a brilliant petal, a visit by a thirsty bee. That doe who let me watch the birth of her fawns on my meadow, the grass that raised to meet them. A ray of sun to an open seat above cement, two cotyledons of green, a certain future of hope. Honeysuckle in my neighbor's garden fills her with an unexpected joy. Onion and garlic in my dancing hand, my greedy knife to meet them. A long descent from a mountain top, a reward at the end of a climb. Waiting patiently to hold this child. A lifetime of stories, real and imagined. At the beach, the child gazes inside a tide pool, full with anemones, starfish, and liquid wonder. Abundance of our home's lonely travel around the sun is our gift and gratitude. Each stone along this path, journey with sighs and breath, have a name for all the shells and clouds, and carry them in baskets. Thank you so much. that dough, that's a real thing. And it was a beautiful moment. I was not aware of it until my dog, which is not with me on this trip. I brought the other dog, the stinky one. But my dog is a careful observer of life. He's a grumpy old fart, but we love him. And I was driving, and he made me stop. He growled, and so I looked at him, and he pointed with his nose, and it was a doe giving birth. And we stayed there for 45 minutes until that fawn fell into the grass. And that dog was so playful. Shouldn't we all be a little bit like puppies? Thank you.
How about another one?
Thank you very much. Wasn't that terrific?
Yes.
Did you bring books to sell?
Yes, I did.
Okay, good. And how much are they? Is it a secret? Okay. So we're gonna take a break. How many? You bought a couple of books. So talk to Amelia about the books. We got 2 sign-up sheets over here. One's for the open mic, and one's for the mailing list. So sign up on which one you want. We also have a little bucket over there, or whatever it is. That's to raise funds for the next Salem Poetry Festival. So feel free to put some money in there. We'll take a couple of minutes, come back for the open mic.